Have you ever felt that something inside you is slowly becoming tired, even when your life looks normal from the outside? You wake up every morning, follow the same routine, speak to the same people, and carry on with your responsibilities, yet deep within, there is a strange heaviness that never fully disappears. Sometimes the mind becomes so crowded with fear, stress, overthinking, and silent pain that even happiness feels temporary. You smile in front of others, but when you are alone, your thoughts begin fighting against you. You start doubting yourself. You lose motivation. You feel emotionally exhausted without understanding why. And slowly, without realizing it, the mind becomes your greatest enemy instead of your greatest strength. But what if the real problem is not your life situation? What if the true battle is happening inside your own mind? Great spiritual masters like Paramahansa Yogananda taught that the human mind is not just a place where thoughts appear. It is a powerful spiritual force that shapes your emotions, your energy, your decisions, and even your destiny. The thoughts you repeat every day slowly become the reality you experience. Fear creates more fear. Negativity attracts more suffering. But peace, faith, and awareness can begin transforming your life from within. And the most beautiful truth is this: you do not need years to begin changing your inner world. Sometimes, just 2 weeks of conscious thinking, meditation, silence, and spiritual awareness can create a powerful shift inside you. In this video, let us explore the hidden power of the mind and discover how true transformation begins, not outside, but deep within your own soul. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fix the outside world without realizing that the real struggle is happening quietly inside their own mind. They believe their pain comes from difficult people, lack of money, broken relationships, failure, or bad luck. But many times, the deepest suffering is not created by life itself. It is created by the constant noise inside the mind. A person may have a home, a job, friends, and everything needed for comfort, yet still feel empty and restless within. Why? Because the mind has slowly become trapped in fear, negativity, comparison, and emotional exhaustion. Every day, thousands of thoughts move through the mind, and most people are completely unaware of how deeply these thoughts shape their emotions and actions. When someone constantly thinks, "I am not good enough," "nothing ever changes for me," or "my life will never improve," those thoughts slowly become inner beliefs. And once the mind accepts those beliefs, the person begins living according to them without even realizing it. They stop taking opportunities. They lose confidence. They expect disappointment before trying. This is the hidden emotional prison that many people live in silently. Sometimes, a painful experience from the past continues controlling the present. A betrayal creates trust issues. A failure creates fear. Childhood criticism creates lifelong self-doubt. Even when the situation changes, the mind continues carrying old wounds. Spiritually, this happens because the mind absorbs energy from every experience and repeats those emotional patterns again and again. Like a seed planted in soil, repeated thoughts eventually grow into reality. A fearful mind creates a fearful life. An angry mind attracts conflict. A restless mind loses inner peace. This is the hidden problem most people never notice. The outer life simply becomes a reflection of the inner condition of the mind. The question is, why does this happen? Why does the mind become so heavy, fearful, and negative even when a person genuinely wants peace and happiness? The answer is both spiritual and psychological. The human mind is not just a collection of random thoughts. It is a powerful energy center that constantly absorbs, stores, and reflects whatever we repeatedly focus on. Every thought carries energy, and when a thought is repeated again and again, it slowly becomes a mental habit. Over time, these habits shape personality, emotions, decisions, and even life experiences. Psychologically, The brain creates pathways based on repetition. If a person constantly thinks about fear, failure, rejection, or sadness, the mind becomes trained to return to those emotions automatically. That is why some people continue overthinking even when nothing is wrong. The mind has become addicted to worry. Spiritually, negative thoughts disconnect us from our natural inner peace. Great spiritual teachers believe that the soul itself is peaceful, loving, and fearless. But the restless mind covers that inner light like dark clouds covering the sun. The more noise inside the mind, the less connection we feel with our true self. This is why people often feel empty even after achieving success, money, or recognition. Outer achievements cannot heal inner confusion. A disturbed mind will continue creating suffering wherever it goes. The modern world also constantly feeds the mind with comparison, fear, pressure, and distraction. People wake up and immediately fill their minds with social media, stress, arguments, and endless noise. Very few people sit in silence or observe their thoughts peacefully. As a result, the mind never gets a chance to rest or heal. Slowly, emotional exhaustion becomes normal. But the beautiful truth is that the same mind that creates suffering can also create peace. When a person begins practicing awareness, meditation, gratitude, and positive inner discipline, the mind slowly changes direction. Fear loses its power. Clarity begins to return, and the soul starts shining through the mind once again. Many people wonder, if I try to think positively and live a good life, then why do painful situations still happen to me? This question has troubled the human heart for centuries. The deeper spiritual answer lies in karma, destiny, and the hidden inner patterns we carry within ourselves. Karma is not punishment from God, and it is not meant to create fear. Karma is simply the law of energy and consequence. Every thought, action, emotion, and intention leaves an impression on the mind and soul. Over time, these impressions become patterns that quietly shape our experiences, reactions, and relationships. Sometimes, a person keeps attracting the same kind of pain again and again without understanding why. One person repeatedly faces betrayal. Another constantly struggles with fear and insecurity. Someone else feels unworthy of love no matter how much affection they receive. Spiritually, these repeating experiences are often connected to unresolved inner patterns created through past emotional wounds, past actions, or deeply rooted habits of thinking. Many of these patterns begin in childhood. A child who constantly hears criticism may grow into an adult filled with self-doubt. A person who experiences emotional rejection may unconsciously fear abandonment for years. Even when life changes, the mind continues carrying the emotional memory of past pain. According to spiritual wisdom, some patterns may even come from deeper karmic impressions carried through the soul's journey. But this does not mean a person is trapped forever. Destiny is not completely fixed. Every moment of awareness begins changing the direction of karma. The moment a person stops feeding fear, anger, jealousy, or negativity, the old pattern slowly starts losing strength. When someone chooses forgiveness instead of hatred, courage instead of fear, or peace instead of reaction, a new inner destiny begins forming. This is why spiritual growth is so powerful. It breaks unconscious cycles that have controlled the mind for years. The greatest transformation happens when a person realizes that while they cannot always control every situation in life, they can slowly transform the energy with which they respond to life. And that inner transformation begins changing the future in ways the mind cannot immediately see. When the power of the mind begins changing, the transformation usually does not happen with loud miracles or dramatic events. It begins silently, through small inner shifts that slowly change the way a person feels, thinks, and responds to life. Many people expect instant success, instant happiness, or immediate answers. But true spiritual transformation often starts deep within before it becomes visible on the outside. One of the first signs is that the mind becomes calmer. Situations that once created intense fear or anger no longer control the person so strongly. They begin observing life instead of reacting emotionally to everything. For example, a man who spent years constantly worrying about money used to wake up every morning with anxiety in his chest. His mind was always focused on lack, fear, and uncertainty. But when he began practicing silence, gratitude, and positive thinking for just a few minutes every day, something slowly started changing. His financial problems did not disappear overnight, but his fear began disappearing first. And once the mind became calmer, he started thinking clearly, making better decisions, and noticing opportunities he had ignored before. Another woman carried deep emotional pain from a broken relationship. For years, she kept replaying old memories inside her mind, and the more she focused on the pain, the heavier her life became. Then she started spending a few quiet minutes every night in prayer and self-reflection. Instead of repeating thoughts of sadness, she gently told herself, "I am healing. I am guided. I am becoming peaceful." Slowly, her energy began changing. She smiled more. She stopped blaming herself. Her heart became lighter. These changes may appear small from the outside, but spiritually they are powerful signs of awakening. Sometimes the signs are very simple. Sleeping peacefully after a long time, feeling less negative, becoming more patient with family, or feeling hopeful again without any special reason. These are signs that the mind is healing and reconnecting with inner peace. Real transformation does not always begin by changing the world around you. Often, it begins by changing the energy within you, and once the inner world changes, outer life slowly starts reflecting that new energy. Healing the mind does not happen through force, pressure, or self-hatred. Many people try to fight their negative thoughts aggressively, but the mind heals more deeply through awareness, patience, and gentle inner discipline. The first step is to stop treating yourself like an enemy. Every human being carries emotional pain, fears, and inner struggles. The goal is not to become perfect overnight, but to slowly create peace inside the mind. One of the most powerful ways to begin healing is by creating moments of silence in daily life. Most people wake up and immediately fill their minds with stress, phone notifications, social media, and endless distractions. As a result, the mind never gets a chance to breathe. But when a person starts the morning with even 5 or 10 minutes of silence, prayer, deep breathing, or gratitude, the entire energy of the day begins changing. Another important practice is becoming conscious of inner language. The words you repeat inside your mind slowly shape your emotional reality. If a person constantly says, "My life is hopeless," "I always fail," or "nothing good happens to me," the subconscious mind absorbs those words like truth. That is why spiritual teachers encourage people to speak gently and positively to themselves. Even simple thoughts like, "I am healing," "Peace is entering my life," or "I trust the process of life," begin changing the energy of the mind over time. Meditation is also a powerful tool for healing because it teaches the mind how to become still. In silence, the mind slowly releases emotional noise and reconnects with inner awareness. Forgiveness is another deep step in healing. Many people carry pain for years because they continue reliving old wounds inside their minds. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened or allowing wrong behavior again. It means releasing the emotional poison that keeps hurting your own heart. Healing also requires protecting your mental environment. Constant negativity, gossip, anger, and toxic influences slowly weaken the mind. A peaceful mind grows stronger when surrounded by uplifting thoughts, meaningful conversations, prayer, spiritual wisdom, and conscious living. Slowly, through these small daily practices, the mind begins transforming from a place of suffering into a place of strength, clarity, and inner peace. The deepest spiritual awakening begins when a person realizes one powerful truth: you are not your thoughts. Most people spend their entire lives believing every fear, every negative emotion, and every painful thought that appears inside the mind. When sadness comes, they think, I am sadness. When fear appears, they think, I am weak. When failure happens, they begin believing they are worthless. But spiritual wisdom teaches something very different. Thoughts are temporary visitors passing through the mind. They are not the true self. Behind all the noise, emotions, and mental confusion, there is a deeper presence within you that remains calm, pure, and untouched. That presence is the soul. Imagine the sky during a storm. Dark clouds may cover it completely, thunder may shake the air, and rain may fall heavily, yet the sky itself remains unchanged behind the clouds. In the same way, fear, anger, anxiety, and pain may pass through the mind, but your true spiritual nature remains peaceful beneath it all. The problem is that most people become so attached to their thoughts that they forget the light within themselves. They spend years trying to control the outer world while ignoring the inner world that creates their experience of life. True awakening begins the moment a person starts observing the mind instead of becoming controlled by it. In that awareness, inner freedom slowly appears. A person no longer reacts to every emotion immediately. They become calmer, wiser, and more connected to life. They stop seeking constant validation from the world because they begin feeling strength within themselves. Spiritually, this is the beginning of real transformation. The mind becomes a servant instead of a master. Fear loses its grip. Peace no longer depends on circumstances. And slowly, a person begins experiencing life with deeper gratitude, compassion, and clarity. The greatest lesson is not that the mind is powerful, but that the soul guiding the mind is even more powerful. Once the mind aligns with peace, awareness, and divine consciousness, life itself begins feeling lighter, more meaningful, and deeply connected to something greater than fear or suffering. And so, dear friend, as this journey comes to an end, take a quiet moment and look within yourself. Perhaps the peace you have been searching for is not far away. Perhaps it has always been waiting silently inside your own mind and soul. Life does not always change through big miracles or sudden success. Sometimes the greatest transformation begins with a single peaceful thought, a few moments of silence, or the decision to stop fighting yourself internally. Remember, your mind is like a garden. Whatever thoughts you water every day will slowly grow into your reality. If you continue feeding fear, doubt, anger, and negativity, suffering becomes stronger. But if you begin feeding your mind with peace, faith, gratitude, and spiritual awareness, your entire inner world starts changing little by little. Even 2 weeks of conscious living can begin creating a powerful shift within you. So from today, try to observe your thoughts with awareness. Speak kindly to yourself, spend a few moments daily in silence, and trust that healing is possible for you too. And now I would truly love to hear from you. Which part of this video touched your heart the most? Have you ever experienced the power of your own thoughts changing your life? Share your experience or feelings in the comments below, because your words may inspire someone else who is silently struggling. And if this message brought you even a little peace or clarity, gently support this spiritual journey by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who may need these words today. Also tell me in the comments, what spiritual or life topic would you like to hear in the next video? Your suggestions help this community grow together in wisdom and awareness. Until we meet again, may your mind remain peaceful, may your heart remain fearless, and may your soul stay connected to the divine light within. Jai Gurudev.